isolated system and then a rigid system. Rigid system, etc. So in this respect, a closed system can as well be referred to as a control mass, but we shall just be using this term for the sake of simplicity. So this one consists of a fixed amount of mass, and no mass can cross the boundary. In that case, we have illustrated what the boundary is. So let me give a demonstration of this so that you can be able to understand what it is. So in this case, let's assume that this is a container that has got what we call mass. Mass, of course, can be what we discussed, something that occupies space. So in that case, for a closed system, it consists of a fixed amount of mass, and no mass can cross its boundaries, as we say that. This was a definition of a system, and this is a surrounding, and this is a boundary. So for a closed system, there's a fixed mass, and no mass can cross its boundaries. So for mass to enter inside there, we said there's no mass that can cross the boundaries. But in that respect, energy in the form of heat can be able to cross the boundary, and then it will affect the contents, or maybe the volume if it's a gas, etc., of the content or the mass inside the system. So in this case, that's a fixed mass. I mean, it has a fixed mass, but only energy can be able to cross across the boundary. Now for an open system, you find that in the, it is actually a properly selected region in space, and it encloses a device that will enable mass flow, just like a compressor. For instance, there's a, okay, let me give you another demonstration for that's an open system. Sorry for that. So for an open system, you will find that we shall just give a demonstration so that we are able to understand. We have a container there, and at this particular point, we have this and this, and then this container is enclosed just like this. But we have a point of entry at this particular point, and a point of exit at that point, and then there's a just a minute. Okay, now for a closed system, we have said about that the mass is fixed, but only the energy can be able to cross the boundary. For an open system, we have said that it usually encloses a device whereby the mass can flow. Like for instance, we can say, okay, this is mass. We can give an example of like a compressor, like a gas compressor. It's an example of an open system that we are talking about, whereby both energy and mass can cross the boundary of a controlled volume, of course, that we have illustrated here. It's a controlled volume, but the volume inside here, which is of course makes up the mass, can be able to cross the boundary.